Okay, hear me out. Lightning McQueen isn't a car. He is a Sentinel, a machine overlord. The world of cars is what happened to the surface of the Earth after the machines won the war in the Matrix. While humanity is stuck underground in pods being used as batteries, the machines got bored. They evolved. They built a civilization on the surface to mimic the creators they destroyed. Radiator Springs isn't a small town. It is Zion for the robots. In 2006, Pixar asked a simple question. What if cars had feelings? It was a cute, slightly confusing world where vehicles live, love, and race with absolutely no humans in sight. In 1999, the Wachowskis asked a darker question. What if machines enslaved us? We think these are separate universes. One is for kids, one is for philosophy majors. But look at the evidence. Both worlds are populated entirely by sentient machines. Both worlds have a history involving a catastrophic event that removed biological life. Today, I am going to prove to you that Cars is the documentary of what the machines did after they defeated Neo. The biggest question in Cars has always been, where are the people? And the second biggest question is, why is the world built for them? Look at the design. The cars have door handles. Why? No one gets inside them. The buildings have stairs, hallways, and second floors. Why? Cars can't climb stairs. The world is built for bipedal primates, but the only things living there are sedans.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet.
In the Matrix lore, specifically the Animatrix, we learn that the machines started by serving humans. They were domestic servants. They learned our architecture. They learned our culture. When they wiped us out, they didn't invent a new culture. They simply inherited ours. This is a phenomenon known as a cargo cult. The machines are mimicking the rituals of the gods they killed. Look at the restaurants. Cars go to Flo's V8 Cafe to drink oil, but they sit at tables. They use drive-thrus. They have waitresses. A machine doesn't need a social dining experience to refuel. It just needs a nozzle. But they do it anyway. They sit there, revving their engines, pretending to be people having lunch. They kept the door handles not because they need them, but because it is a vestigial design trait. It's like the human appendix. The car is a shell, designed to comfort the humans they once served. Now the machines inhabit these shells like hermit crabs wearing the armor of a dead civilization. Let's look at the anatomy. This is where it gets body horror levels of weird. In real life, a car's eyes are its headlights. In Pixar, the eyes are the windshield. Why? Because there is no driver. The brain of the machine is filling the cabin. But it gets worse. Look at the mouths. They have teeth. They have tongues. Soft, pink, flexible tongues. Why does a machine built of steel and rubber need a fleshy tongue? It doesn't, unless that tongue is a remnant of the biomechanical interface. The Sentinels in the Matrix are squid-like robots, but the cyborgs in the Terminator, which shares DNA with this theory, use living tissue over a metal endoskeleton. The cars are a hybrid. They are machines that have integrated synthetic biology to allow for speech and expression. Inside that metal shell isn't just an engine block. It is a squirming mass of cables, sensors, and wetware code, the descendant of the machine army. But wait, you say. We've seen inside the cars. The windows are transparent. Are they? Or is that just rendering? Notice that the doors almost never open. In 3 movies, seeing a car door open is incredibly rare and usually framed as a gag or an accident. Why? Because the interior isn't a cabin. It's a chest cavity. If you opened Lightning McQueen's door, you wouldn't find leather seats and a steering wheel. You would find the brain. The cabin is filled with the central processing unit and the wetware biological components required to run the AI. Think about the pit stops. Guido and Luigi aren't mechanics, they are surgeons. When Lightning gets new tires, he sighs in relief. It's not maintenance, it's an organ transplant. When they get dents, they feel pain. Why would a machine feel pain? Because pain is a biological feedback loop designed to preserve life. The machines coded pain into themselves to feel more alive. They aren't driving the cars, they are the cars. The windshield eyes aren't glass. They're massive optical sensors wired directly into a cortex that sits where the driver's seat used to be. And how do they reproduce? They don't. They are built. In the movie Robots, which I argue is part of this timeline, we see them buying upgrades. In cars, they get repairs. They're immortal, distinct mechanical entities. They don't have DNA, they have source code. If this is a machine civilization, surely it is efficient. Surely it is free. Wrong. It is a paranoid police state. I present to you the most baffling scene in the franchise. The airport security in Cars 2. Watch this scene closely. The cars are lining up to go through metal detectors. They're cars. They are made of metal. The detector should go off every single time. Why do machines need to scan other machines for weapons? They are weapons. Unless they aren't scanning for metal, they're scanning for human technology. They're scanning for EMP devices. They're scanning for red pills. The society of cars is terrified of a human uprising. They know the batteries are still alive underground. They know about Zion, so they built a surveillance state. The TSA in Cars 2 isn't looking for water bottles. They are looking for glitches in the Matrix code. They are stripping the cars down to check for viruses planted by the human resistance. This paranoia comes from a history of war. I present to you Sarge. Sarge is a 1941 Willys military Jeep. He is a veteran. He talks constantly about the war. But wait, if there are no humans, who did Sarge fight? Did cars fight other cars in World War II? No. Sarge is a veteran of the Machine War, the war against humanity. He dates back to the era of the Second Renaissance from the Animatrix. He was built as a war machine to hunt down the human resistance. When he talks about the good old days, he's talking about the days when he was crushing skulls with his tires. And look at the spin-off planes. We see massive aircraft carriers and fighter jets. Why does a society of peaceful machines need fighter jets? Who are they bombing? They are patrolling the surface. They are hunting for Zion hovercrafts. They are the remnants of the military complex that scorched the sky. Sarge isn't a grumpy old neighbor. He is a retired Terminator unit living out his days in the desert, waiting for the humans to breach the surface again. Now for the darkest part. How do they run?
Wow, this organic fuel is great!
They drink gas and oil. But in Cars 2, there is a massive global conspiracy regarding Allinol, an alternative fuel source. The lemons, the broken cars, want to keep the world dependent on oil. But where does the oil come from? Oil is a fossil fuel. It comes from dead dinosaurs. But in the Cars universe, there were no biological dinosaurs. So, what are they burning?
In order to change a human being into this.
In the Matrix, the machines liquefy the dead humans to feed the living ones. Gas in the Cars universe isn't petroleum. It is biofuel. It is the processed slurry of the human batteries underground. The oil rigs we see in Cars 2 aren't drilling into the earth for crude. They are drilling into the pod fields. They are harvesting the waste product of the human race. The entire economy of cars is built on the harvest of humanity. That's why they protect the oil industry so violently. If the Matrix shuts down, the fuel stops flowing, and Lightning McQueen starves. The lemons aren't just bad guys. They're the exiles, like the Merovingian in the Matrix. Programs that refuse to be deleted and fight for control of the energy source. If they have a society, do they have a god? Yes. And this is the weirdest scene in Pixar history. In Cars 2, we see the car pope. Why do machines have a pope? Catholicism is a human religion, unless they are worshiping the source. In The Matrix, the machines have a hierarchy. They have the Deus Ex Machina, the God form. The cars have adopted a religion to explain their own creation. They know they were created, not born. They worship the manufacturer in the sky. The car pope is the interface between the civilian machines on the surface and the machine mainframe, the source. And why is he in a glass box? A car doesn't need bulletproof glass. It's a relic. It's a ritualistic imitation of human leaders they saw in the archives. They are miming a religion they don't understand because they are desperate for a soul. They are trying to find meaning in their immortality. That's the God covered. Now let's talk about hell. What happens when a car dies? They don't have funerals. We never see a cemetery in Cars. We only see tow-mater towing and salvage, which also operates as a scrapyard. In computer science, when a program is no longer useful, it is removed by a process called garbage collection. It frees up memory for new processes. The scrapyard in Cars is literal garbage collection. When a car is too old or too broken, it isn't mourned. It is crushed into a cube. Why? To be recycled back into the source. The metal is melted down to create new bodies. The code is reintegrated into the mainframe. This is why Mater is so afraid of the ghost light. Deep down, every program knows that deletion is waiting for them. There is no heaven for a Honda Civic. There is only the crusher. The machines know they are recyclable. Their individuality is temporary. Their metal is eternal. Let's look at the environment. It's a desert. It's strikingly similar to the desert of the real. Morpheus shows Neo just hundreds of years later. The sky has healed. The nanobots from Operation Darkstorm have finally dissipated, allowing the sun to return. But notice what isn't there. Animals. There are no birds. There are no cows. There are no fish. Wait, there are cows. Why are their tractors acting like cows? Why are there VW Beetles buzzing like flies? Because the machines killed all biological life. The biosphere collapsed, but the machines realized that the world felt empty. So, they engaged in synthetic terraforming. They built robot animals to fill the ecological niches. Tractors replaced cattle. VW bugs replaced insects. The aircraft carriers replaced whales. It is a synthetic ecosystem built by a god that only understands metal. It's a simulation of nature, running on the surface of the real world. But stop and look at the VW Beetle bugs for a second. This is a specific, calculated insult by the machine overlords. The Volkswagen Beetle was the people's car. It was one of the most iconic, beloved human vehicles in history. And what did the machines turn it into? A fly? A pest? A bottom feeder? This is the machine's sense of humor. They took the vehicle most associated with humanity's freedom of movement and demoted it to the lowest rung of the evolutionary ladder. It's not just an ecosystem, it's a mockery. They are humiliating the memory of their creators by turning their favorite car into something that gets splattered on a windshield. Finally, let's look at the hierarchy and the rebels. The world of Cars is divided. You have the high-tech, fast-paced world of the Piston Cup and the slow, forgotten world of Radiator Springs. The Piston Cup is the Machine City 1. It is efficient, it is corporate, it is obsessed with speed and upgrades, it is the system. Radiator Springs is Zion. It is off the map. It is where the obsolete programs go to hide. Doc Hudson is the Oracle. He is an old program, a former champion who was cast aside by the system. He teaches the new one, Lightning, how to break the rules of physics, turn right to go left. Lightning McQueen is Neo. He starts as a cog in the machine, a racer. He gets unplugged, lost in the desert. He learns the truth about the past from the Oracle, Doc, and by the end, he rejects the system. He stops the race to help the king. He breaks the code. So, how do we get from Keanu Reeves to Lightning McQueen? Let's map the history of the machine empire. 2090, the Second Renaissance. Humans create AI. The machines rise up. Humanity attempts Operation Dark Storm to scorch the sky and cut off solar power. 2139, the fall of man. Humanity loses. The survivors are imprisoned in pods. The machines begin using bioelectricity, the battery system. 2199 to 2699, the healing. For 500 years, the machines rule. The nanobots in the sky slowly dissipate. The atmosphere begins to heal. The machines, now the masters of a dead planet, begin to terraform the surface. 2700, the cargo cult era. The machines, bored and lacking their own culture, decide to adopt the form of the objects their creators loved most. Automobiles. They build the car exoskeletons and download their consciousness into them. Present day, the piston cup. The surface civilization is thriving. They have forgotten the war. They simply live, race, and consume fuel, unaware that their entire existence is powered by the nightmare beneath their tires. Lightning McQueen isn't living in the future. He is living in the graveyard of the past. So, when you watch Cars and you see Mater being funny and Lightning learning about friendship, remember what is happening 5 miles beneath the asphalt. Millions of humans are floating in pods, dreaming about a world where they still have legs, powering the gas that Mater drinks to get the hiccups. The machines didn't just win, they retired to Route 66 to enjoy their victory lap. I'm tweeting at Pixar, ask them what's in the gas. Ask them why they're a door handle. Wake up, sheeple. The Matrix has you, and it drives a Corvette.